From Washington, D.C., the belly of the anti-marijuana beast. Season's greetings from NORML staff and the board of directors. To you and yours. This is Alan St. Pierre, Executive Director of NORML and the NORML Foundation. And I sincerely hope your holidays are both safe and hemp-filled.
Hi, this is NORML founder and legal counsel Keith Stropp, wishing you a happy holiday from NORML. Let's use this time with family and friends to rededicate ourselves to ending marijuana prohibition and stopping the arrest of responsible marijuana smokers. Happy holidays.
And distributed by the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws in Washington, D.C. This is your daily audio stash, the growing truth about cannabis. Welcome to the most popular audio podcast regarding marijuana in all of America and all the world, featuring interviews with scientists, politicians, doctors, prohibition policy activists, regular cannabis consumers, musicians, and NORML staff and NORML's board of directors, along with music and comedy no other podcast can offer. You can always find out more about the show at our website, NORMLAudiostash.com. We're ending marijuana prohibition with education, one listener at a time. Welcome back here to the Audio Stash today on this Friday, December 7th. I'm your host, Chris Goldstein. Take a moment to join us right now here at NORML. Help us end senseless marijuana prohibition in America. You can make a big difference. Just going up to NORML.org right now to make your donation or join NORML today. Folks, getting into the official holiday season here on the Audio Stash, and we've got a truly massive amount of very cool content to get to here in the next few weeks. As we wind down 2007, we'll have the top stories of the year in a countdown and listen into some of the really groundbreaking moments that took place this year. I'll be speaking with some of our regular experts and some new voices in a comprehensive look at what has been a very important year for cannabis reform in 2007. Also, next week, everyone has the chance to participate in the Re-Legalize online fundraiser for NORML. This will be a unique opportunity for all of our friends on MySpace and Facebook, as well as all of you listening to the podcasts, to take part in ending prohibition. Let's re-legalize out there. We'll have some celebrity guests next week participating in the Re-Legalize fund drive to support NORML. Give the gift to the whole country this year. Give the gift of legal marijuana by supporting NORML this holiday season. Today in the program, we're going to have an extended interview. Welcome back with Steve Bloom of CelebStoner.com. Steve's getting ready for his book to hit stores soon, and he got an opportunity to take an interesting CelebStoner.com trip to paradise. Really, later in the program today, we'll have some independent, irreverent holiday music from IOTA, the Independent Online Distribution Alliance, Podshow.com, and MySpace today. Links to everyone we will play right up at NORMLAudiostash.com. Let's get to some daily news today. Make sure you pick up the NORML News Weekly podcast at NORMLAudiostash.com or NORML.org/podcast. Our news today from Bismarck, North Dakota. North Dakota farmers' suit to grow hemp dismissed by courts. DEA approves hemp research at North Dakota State. Federal Judge Daniel Hovland dismissed a case brought by farmer Wayne Haig and State Representative David Monson that would have overturned the DEA's ban on industrial hemp cultivation in the United States. Hovland wrote in his decision that the farmers who are licensed by North Dakota to grow hemp will have to seek redress in Congress should they desire to grow hemp legally under federal law. Eric Steenstra, president of Vote Hemp, an organization dedicated to legalizing the cultivation of industrial hemp, stated that they are disappointed with the decision, but would redouble efforts in Congress. Quote, "We will take this decision to Washington, D.C. to prompt action by Congress on H.R. 1009, the Industrial Hemp Farming Act of 2007, which would clarify a state's right to grow the crop." Close quote. In the aftermath of the decision, North Dakota State University received a memorandum of agreement from the DEA that, if signed by the university, would allow hemp cultivation research there, according to Vote Hemp. North Dakota State University, which had been attempting to obtain a license from the DEA to grow hemp for research for 8 years, had filed an amicus brief in the case detailing their difficulties with the agency. Quote, "It seems our arguments about the DEA's delay in processing North Dakota State University's application have resulted in the agency finally taking positive action to allow research," close quote, said David Bronner, president of the Hemp Industries Association and Dr. Bronner's Magic Soaps, a company that produces hemp-based goods. More information is available online at votehemp.com. And now it's time for our celebstoner.com update, and welcome back with Steve Bloom.
I want to be famous. I want to wear minks and satins and pearls.
Each Friday here on the Audio Stash, we get to check in with Steve Bloom and celebstoner.com. Steve has his finger on the pulse of celeb stoners around the planet, and he posts it all and marijuana news right up at celebstoner.com. Steve, after 2 weeks, it's great to speak with you again. Welcome back here to the Audio Stash today.
Aloha, Chris.
Well, it's great to speak with you again, Steve. Great to have you back here on the show. How was Hawaii?
It was beautiful. I'd never been to Hawaii, and I went to Maui, which is the one of the 3 islands that people travel to mostly when they go to Hawaii. They either go to Maui, Oahu, where Honolulu is, and the university, or to the Big Island, which is where the live volcano is. But Maui's really, really great. We spent most of the time on the west side of the island, which is more commercial district, and finally made our way over to the east side, where Paea and Hana and the Hana Road are, and also the volcano on that side of the island, where everybody goes up in the early morning and watches it during the sunrise, which is Haleakala. So it was really nice. Did some swimming, snorkeling, the usual stuff you do in Hawaii. Smoked a little bit, not too much. There wasn't really that much available during the time I was there, truth be told. And just did the usual stuff the tourists do when they travel around Maui.
So what's it like being the quintessential New Yorker that you are, heading over to paradise?
Well, I went from New York to L.A. and then to Hawaii, so kind of like going from New York to L.A. kind of, gives you a little, break, as far as the climate change. And actually I had a 5-hour layover, so I went to Venice Beach and had a lunch with a friend. So, I was sort of acclimating to the weather. So I took this little break in between, so it wasn't the 10-15 hour, trip that you would take otherwise. And but once you hit, Hawaii, it's a sort of like little paradise island. I got there at night, and you start to, pick things up as the day breaks, and you start to see the water, the ocean, and the mountains everywhere. And pretty much there's 3 main geographical breakdowns of Hawaii. There's the ocean, there's the mountains, which are all volcanic, and then there's a rainforest on the east side of the island, on the east side of the volcano. And there's a road that goes across the north and east corridor of the island, just on the coastline, called the Hana Road, and that's sort of the fun trip that everybody comes to take when they go to Hawaii. It's a zigzaggy road, very similar to, say, Big Sur in California, with some high peaks and just beautiful, beautiful vistas, and there's just fruiting trees and blossoms everywhere, and it's just beautiful section of Hawaii. I mean, they kind of recommend that it's a little treacherous and be careful because there's a lot of one-lane roads and bridges and stuff, but it's very easy to do, and it's not, something that'll make you ill or sick that, some people will tell you, beware, take Dramamine. It's not really, to that level in my mind. It's just gorgeous, though, and it tucks you away back into the hills of and the jungle of Hawaii, and back in there's an area called the Severn Sacred Pools, which is a waterfall that kind of comes down to 7 pools, which is beautiful. And if you're into surfing, there's definitely places to go. The water's very rough all around Hawaii, even where there aren't high waves. There's undertows very strong, and you're pretty much warned to be careful. The rule of thumb I was told was if there's nobody swimming in the water where you are, don't go in. Only go in, where there's somebody around. We went to McKenna Beach, which is, pretty well known for its white sand, and we went to another place over in Hana, which was red sand beach. So you have red sand, white sand, or golden sand, and black sand beaches, so you can take your pick. The red sand beach is really kind of, a little otherworldly. And there's nude beaches. We didn't find any of those for that particular time. It was a little bit off-season, but at one point, we came back, near Hana and Paia, which is the hippie town on the east side of the island, and there were surfers all over the place out on one beach. I forget the beach, what the name of it was, but they were all out there in the water doing their surfing and doing the tubes and stuff. So you kind of catch it all if you spend enough time out there.
And this is the area you describe in a post at celebstoner.com that there is kind of a shrine to Willie Nelson there.
It's this really cute little town on the road to Hana, on the Hana Highway. It's probably around 30 miles from, you just start zigzagging pretty much once you get out of Paia into the jungle. And it's a really nice little throwback town, this hippie everything, with great health food. Store and restaurants all over the place, but kind of old school. Everything doesn't look kind of new and, boutiqued up like the other side of the island. And Willie lives in that area, and there's a bar there called Charlie's, and it's really kind of a shrine to Willie, as you say. There's pictures of Willie up on the walls everywhere. There are his gold and platinum albums, a number of them. I guess Willie donated to the bar to put up on the walls. There's a oversized facsimile of his famous guitar with that kind of gaping hole in it near the big hole, that Willie's been kind of scratching into it over the years. His guitar he calls Trigger. And Willie hasn't been known to play there. And when he's on the island, he has a band that is his own separate band to his regular band, touring band that he has here in the U.S. He doesn't bring everybody over. I don't know how long Willie spends there a year, but it turns out when I was there, Willie was performing at the Maui Music Festival. Actually, the first day I arrived, I wasn't able to go to that show because it was a little too close to my arrival. But I heard that Woody Harrelson, who also has a house on the island, and Owen Wilson were there, as well as Luke Wilson. So Owen and Woody are good friends, and Woody lives in the Hana area, which is a little south of Paia, and so I heard that they were all hanging out all week long. Willie has these poker games, and all the guys that hang out at the poker games, and they go into town in Paia and drink up a little bit and just have a good time. So it's just a good getaway because there really aren't paparazzi out there for them to sort of fend off, and they can kind of do their thing without everybody kind of watching and staring.
And Steve, we've reported on the marijuana eradication programs in Hawaii, and you touched on not seeing much there. What's the pot vibe like on Maui as you saw it?
Well, it was a little limited, but honestly, I wasn't there on that kind of trip. I was sort of there on a family trip, so I was kind of taking a slight break, believe it or not. And but I couldn't help myself. I mean, the last couple of days, come on, let's try something. And so I had a friend who toured me around Paia the last day, and I ran into a lot of hippie guys and people and stuff, and nobody was really super forthcoming, and I was kind of a little surprised. I thought we were going to have a little pot party out there, and as it turned out, there was just limited availability of what at least, the people had with them at that particular moment, which can be like that anywhere, I suppose. Maybe not in California, but most other places, where you might have to scrap around and find something good for a good friend who's in town. But I was also told that enforcement has had its effect on the island, as we've heard all along, making it difficult for people to do a lot of island growing. Also, on that side of the island where I was, on the east side of the island, it's rainy and rains a lot, so it's a little harder to grow there because there's just almost too much rain for the plants. And I was told that it's better to sort of grow, a little bit out of the rain area and more up on the mountain, kind of on the side of the mountain, about 4,000 feet up. So, certain parts, I tried something that was called Maui Meadow, which is from an area on the south part of the island. So it was a homegrown. It was tasty. And I also was told that, most of the pot on the island comes from California. Now, I could be wrong, and some people, who are listening to this, from Hawaii may say, hey, wait a second, so let them call in or let them, write in. But that's what I kind of learned, from a few people while I was there, that it wasn't quite as plentiful as you'd like it. You'd be led to believe from all the stories of all the great weed in Hawaii over the years. But there has been a big crackdown on Hawaii, that's similar to the camp crackdowns in California, but kind of worse. And it's preceded camp, and it's kind of like cut back, I think, a lot of the growing operations there over the years, and you really have to tuck it away. And plus, everything's not on Maui. You have to go to other islands for that.
Well, sounds like a very fun celeb stoner trip to Hawaii there, man. And an aloha to all of our Audio Stash listeners out there in paradise, including my good friend Chris out there. Steve, there's been a lot going on. Let's begin with your Thanksgiving this year, in which you included a hot pic of Lindsay Lohan, but you were thankful for more than the revealing photo of the starlet there.
Well, I mean, what I was saying was that, there has been a lot accomplished in on the subject of marijuana. There's been a lot accomplished, and reasons to be thankful being that we do have 12 states that are decriminalized. We do have 12 states that have medical marijuana passed, and we have a bunch of states. As we look ahead to 2008, as you've been reporting, and Alan St. Pierre has been stating, that it's going to be a big year. Not only just for the presidential election, which could, of course, affect marijuana policy, but on the statewide level, where there's going to be several more states that are going to be, pushing medical marijuana initiatives, as well as the next step, which is the tax and regulate. And hopefully, one state, is going to pass tax and regulate, and that's going to be the first state that's going to essentially legalize marijuana in the states. And it may be sort of borderline like that in Alaska right now, but it's a little too far to go, for the average person. But if, you take a state like Nevada, which has been attempted in the past, and you legalize it there, and you create a system of taxing and regulating so it's available in stores, fairly normally, like everybody, on our end of this question would like to see, that's the beginning of, a big change. But of course, it's got to kind of come down from the federal. The feds are going to crack down no matter what, as long as it doesn't, as long as the states keep trying to overwrite the feds. So, but that's a harder, code to crack, so to speak, to get the feds to change their policy. And, it's going to take, a much more sympathetic president and party in office, to do that. And, who knows? Maybe it's going to be, someone like Obama or Hillary Clinton or someone like that who are willing to, kind of like erase, the history of the past and move ahead and end, marijuana prohibition as we know it. But those are reasons to be thankful, to see that we're heading in the right direction, I believe.
Righto. And Steve, just after Thanksgiving was the 1-year anniversary of CelebStoner.com coming online. What's this experience been like for you?
It's been great. I mean, I hadn't really anticipated, what web journalism would be like before diving into Celeb Stoner. I'd had a blog on Blogger.com, BloomIdeas.blogger.com, and that was sort of my beginning on the web to, explore journalism on the web, putting up information, news, and seeing, how people respond to it. And, originally, I think I started blogging like a lot of people blog. It's a little more personal, and I kind of got away from that, with Celeb Stoner, and, wanted to create a site that, was a fairly diverse site, but focuses, on that niche area of drugs and celebrities, that a lot of other major sites cover, but, I feel like they cover it, a little more superficially because they're covering the whole celebrity landscape. And I decided, well, the drugs and celebrity part of that landscape is an area where I could kind of move in on and sort of cover that in a way that it hasn't really been done before. And then also just, use the site as a vehicle to cover marijuana news. My, goal is to just stay ahead of the news curve and cover things before most people kind of catch on to something, so that it's there already at Celeb Stoner if you want it. And And also, create a community for the idea of the celeb stoner. Everybody out there can be a celeb stoner, yourself, if you want to use that terminology. And, I'm a celeb stoner, you're a celeb stoner, anybody can be. But we kind of like designate top celeb stoners for the celebrity celeb stoners, the people like Woody Harrelson and Bill Maher and Owen Wilson and Tommy Chong and Willie Nelson, who we look to them. They're our heroes. They're the ones out there in public life who are fighting this fight, and we're the people a little bit, here like at a website, we're a little behind, the scenes, writing about it. And then there's the average person, the average smoker out there who wants to see some change and do look to these heroes, to elevate the issue a little bit and inspire them. And so, I like to focus on that as well. Well, we started the site with 7 celeb stoners, top celeb stoners. We kind of seeded the site with those 7. And then we've been adding them on and letting people vote them on, which has been a lot of fun because you really get to know what people are really interested in, who do they, look to as their heroes. And so the first one that we voted on was Steve-O, and it's continued, with Matthew McConaughey and Cameron Diaz and Ed Rosenthal and Debbie Goldsberry and Pakalika from Cottonmouth Kings, and we just keep adding them on. Mary Louise Parker was our last one. I'm about to announce Neil Young winning. We have a nice poll running right now with a good battle between Montel Williams and Amy Poehler. It's really fun. So the site, I've got a lot of kudos, from the readers of the site. We're starting to build up advertising. We have a new advertiser that's about to jump aboard called Chiba Hut. I'm very excited about that. Chiba Hut's a sandwich kind of sub shop out of the Southwest that has a kind of very distinct marijuana flavor in their menu. They call it toasted sandwiches, and I'm not sure, most people out there know about Chiba Hut, but they contacted me recently and were interested in, doing some advertising and some promotion through the site. So, that's a good start for, year 2 to really get new advertisers on board to help, capitalize the site so we have a little money to work with. Everybody always wants to know, how do you make money doing, your website? And, it's hard, but, you build it up through advertising and other revenue sources. And, the more traffic you have and the longer the site's around, the more interest there is in the site. So, the first year was the building block, and I just love going out there and digging, and me and the handful of people who help with Celeb Stoner. We go out there and we dig, we just look around, and we look for stories. And there's a marijuana angle to any story, we will jump on it, even if it's, Robert Hawkins, the mass murderer who killed 8 people yesterday. We have a little post up on the site, in today's Celeb Stoner that he had 2 marijuana arrests on his record. And, I just want people to know about it. Now, that's not the best news, to bring up to people, but it's all not necessarily always good news. It's just marijuana news, and pro or con, it's out there, and we don't cover everything. We just pick what we think is right for the site. But usually it's it's friendlier stuff. But it can take you all around the world. It can take you wherever the Celeb Stoners are going. It's sports, it's politics, it's entertainment, movies, music. It's hardcore marijuana news. I mean, I think we broke a lot of good stories on the site in the last year that we just kind of beat people to. I find that, when dispensaries get raided in California, the newspapers out there will write about the one dispensary that got hit, and then there were 7 others that were hit that same day, and nobody knows which ones were hit. And, sometimes it takes going to Dale Geringer, California NORML, and asking him, or sometimes just takes doing a little more digging. That recent story about the eradication in California, the 2.9 million plants, that broke as a story, out in California as a press conference and a press release, but they very sparingly, said, well, one county was number 1, and then one county was number 4, and one county was number 7. But I was curious, what is the list of all the counties? And it just took a phone call to the Attorney General's office to pry a list out of them, and then, I post that list, and everybody starts picking that up all over the place. So, the idea is to break stories and to get other media to pick up on your stories and drive traffic to the site, and do the best we possibly can, to just, bring, more people in. And so after the first year, I think we did pretty well, and looking forward to, expanding in the second year, but pretty much continuing as we go along, doing more or less what Celeb Stoner has been doing. And, gradually you'll probably see some changes on the site. You may see some layout changes and a little expansion as time goes on, but right now the site's going to be as is.
Well, Steve, it sure has been fun checking in with you each week here on the Audio Stash. The information you post up there at celebstoner.com is just a ton of information. It really takes a lot of work, and I'm sure it will continue to grow in 2008. Many congrats on 1 year again, and also, Steve, checking up on some of the Celeb Stoners. Christian Slater was quoted recently. What's up with the old pump up the volume star?
Well, he was just quoted. I'm trying to see exactly. I'm going to click through and recall where he was quoted, but he was quoted in some media basically saying the last time I had ecstasy was 5 years ago. There's no question that in proper quantities and the right manner, drugs are fine. So that was actually told a magazine called Arena, and that's not particularly surprising. He's had his own run-ins with the law, and it led me to sort of dig around a little bit and just dig up Christian Slater's sort of his track record on some of the things he's done. I mean, Christian had been arrested 3 times in 1989 for DUI in L.A., in 1994 for attempting to carry a gun onto a plane at JFK Airport, and in 1997 for assaulting his then-girlfriend and police in Los Angeles. He actually spent 59 days in jail. So he actually doesn't have any specific drug priors, but, he's one of those bad boys of Hollywood guys who actually, had a very promising career when he came out of Heathers. I think everybody, just loved him out of that movie with Winona Ryder, and it's been kind of a downhill for him over the years. He really hasn't, had the kind of career. A lot of people referred to him as kind of a young Jack Nicholson with his, kind of like, that attitude that he kind of had, and, as a young actor. But he hasn't really lived up to it, unfortunately. And so it was just an opportunity to sort of dig into Christian's past a little bit there.
And Steve, in our continuing coverage of the Ricky Williams saga, looks like we won't be able to follow him playing anymore this season.
It was sad for Ricky Williams that, he waited so long to get back into the league, and, he needed to be reinstated because he was suspended for, failing, one of his many drug tests for marijuana. I think he'd failed 4, and he went and played in Canada last year. He bided his time. He made, the offer to reinstate. The league took, several months. I mean, mid-season they say, okay, you can come back and you can start playing for the Dolphins. And the Dolphins needed him because they'd had an injury at that position. Ronnie Brown got hurt, and so they needed a runner. And of all games, and funny, I happened to see it when I was in Hawaii. It was a Monday Night Football game, the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Dolphins. This game in Pittsburgh that was 0-0 for most of the game, and they played in like a kind of a downpour, and they had like some new surface of grass there that kind of didn't take the water very well, so it created like puddles and mud everywhere, and it was a real sloppy game, and they couldn't score any points. And that was Ricky's first game, and he goes out there. After 6 carries, he fell, during one of his runs, and one of the players stepped on him accidentally, and they, everybody couldn't get their footing in that game, and someone stepped literally on his chest, and those guys wear cleats and stuff, and it hurts, and he got kind of like he got an injury to his chest that took him out for the whole season already. So much for Ricky, and I feel sad for him. The good news in football was that Travis Henry, the runner for the Denver Broncos, won his appeal on the positive pot test that he had, drug test for pot. Now, he's already tested positive in the past, and so I guess they figured, hey, they got him again, and he said, this time I wasn't smoking, something went wrong, and he actually challenged it, he appealed it, and won the appeal, which was pretty much, they said, hey, okay, it was a false positive. So that's kind of good news for a lot of players out there. You can challenge the NFL on a drug test, that it's not, I think anybody out there who smokes marijuana knows there's a lot of, flawed testing out there, and, there's secondhand smoke and all kinds of things that can happen. He basically claimed it was secondhand. He was around maybe some pot smoking and, seeped into his, into his body, into his bloodstream. So he actually won that one. So Travis Henry will not be banned as it had been suspected for a year. If he had lost that appeal, he would have been banned for a year from football. So lucky for him, and good for the Broncos that he's still around to, although I don't think they're having the best of seasons, at least, keep them maybe towards the road to 500 for this year. Well, they've had great news in Denver this year, but the Broncos have not been one of them. They've had baseball's been good for them, and they won another election, but football is not their best year. But at least for Travis Henry, at least he's sticking around.
Right on. Well, Steve, this has been a great conversation here today. Welcome back here to the very cold East Coast from Paradise there. Many thanks for joining us here today, and I'm looking forward to speaking with you in regular segments every Friday as we move forward here into 2008.
Mahalo, Chris, as they say in Hawaii.
Many thanks again, man. Steve Bloom has his finger on the pulse of celebrity stoners around the planet. He posts it all and marijuana news right up on the website, celebstoner.com. We have links to it on our website at normalaudiostash.com.
Christmas lights are shining on the shores of the island. Christmas in Hawaii with you. Hear the sleigh bells in the seashells. Santa Claus is coming for every girl and boy. We'll know he'll make it over the Pacific to bring us all his shiny toys. Stockings full of sugar cane, pineapple reindeer games, making snow angels in the sand. We'll spend the Christmas pit on hot rocks and bamboo twigs, then surf on down to Waikiki. Rum punch and listening to the songs from the ukulele, dancing at the luau to Santa Claus is back in town. We'll burn fires till Christmas night. Santa Claus is back in town. We'll burn the fires till Christmas night. Christmas lights are shining on the shores of the island. Christmas in Hawaii. Christmas lights are shining on the shores of the island. Christmas in Hawaii with you.
Closing out the celebstoner.com segment today with that tune from the Hot Rods, Christmas in Hawaii. We have links to the Hot Rods at normalaudiostash.com. Stay tuned. We have an irreverent mix of holiday music for you today here on the Audio Stash. Have you ever wondered what Amsterdam is all about? Don't just read about the culture that has accepted cannabis. Experience it firsthand with CS Travel's Sensible Amsterdam Tour with NORML. Travel to one of Europe's most beautiful cities this January for an educational and recreational visit to a city that regulates cannabis like alcohol. CS Travel has arranged an exclusive visit for reform-minded Americans that includes a private tour of some of Amsterdam's most renowned coffee shops, educational seminars with coffee shop proprietors, local law enforcement, members of the Cannabis Retailers Association, and NORML staff. Entertainment includes a special evening at the Boom Chicago Comedy Club, canal tours, visits to the city's many museums, including the world-famous Van Gogh Museum. Don't just wonder about Amsterdam, experience the beauty and freedom of this unique city firsthand with CS Travel and NORML Sensible Amsterdam Tour. Pricing information is available online at coffeeshoptravel.com. That's coffeeshoptravel.com. Or call toll-free at 800-816-1846. That's 800-816-1846. Be a sensible American. Visit Amsterdam with CS Travel and NORML this January. Call 1-800-816-1846 right now to book your trip. More information is available at norml.org.
You're listening to NORML's Daily Audio Stash.
76% of Americans no longer support arresting and jailing marijuana smokers, and nearly as many support the medical patients having access to medical marijuana. And over 80% of our citizens now believe the war on drugs is an ineffective failure. So the question is, when will the government's misguided war on adult marijuana smokers finally end? When? Simple. When you and your like-minded friends, family, and coworkers get involved with an organization such as the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, also known as NORML. My name is Keith Strop, and I founded the organization in 1970. Contact us at NORML, toll-free, 888-67-NORML, or by visiting the organization's up-to-date webpage at www.norml.org.
And now it's time to get into our Irreverent Audio Stash holiday music mix. It is currently Hanukkah. It's going on right now. And although I am not Jewish, I am married to a beautiful Jewish woman. And I found this song out on the internet. I passed it around amongst my friends, and I played it on my public radio program last year. Cool guys, Stuckey and Murray, found this up at podshow.com. For all of you who are dating or married to a Jewish person, or maybe you're Jewish yourself and married to a Jewish person too. Here's Stuckey and Murray with this great Hanukkah song, I Love a Jew.
When I look at her, everything's alright. I've never met a love like this in all my life. And I'll tell everybody, because it's true, I really love a Jew. She doesn't go to church or look up to a steeple. How can I go wrong dating one of the chosen people? She's got a cute punim, that's Yiddish, and a really nice bod. She doesn't believe that Jesus is the Son of God. And I'm not the type of guy who's gonna try and persuade her, because I really enjoy going to the Passover Seder, and I love a Jew. She loves having Nagila and dancing the horror. I tend to read a Bible, but she's a fan of the Torah and menorahs. But we blend so well, man, you really would be surprised. I may not be a Jew, but I am circumcised, and I can prove that. The only problem is when I spend every penny I earn on all 8 of her Hanukkah gifts, but I only get one in return. But I love a Jew. Her matzo ball soup is the best, without a doubt. There's something about gefilte fish that really kind of freaks me out. but I know she's the one that I'm gonna marry. Oh, even though she can't eat pork and she shouldn't mix meat with dairy. Oh, I've even come to learn that when she says oy vey, it can still mean that everything's gonna be okay. And I know we'll be together for more than a while, 'cause she's my Jew and I'm her Gentile, and I love a Jew. Oh, yes, I do. And she says things like Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu. I don't know what that means. No, I don't speak Hebrew.
Stuckey and Murray there with I Love a Jew, going out to my own beautiful, wonderful Jewish wife. And for all of you out there, that's just a great Hanukkah song for anyone, Jewish or not, out there. And coming up next, a classic holiday Christmas song, remixed. This is off a cool album of remixed holiday classics found up at the Independent Online Distribution Alliance. Here is Dean Martin, remixed by Dan the Automator. Jingle Bells.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
Jingle Bells, remix, Dean Martin's original remix by Dan the Automator there, here on NORML's Daily Audio Stash. Links to that right up on our website at normalaudiostash.com. Let's continue on with more irreverent holiday music, independent holiday music from podshow.com, the Independent Online Distribution Alliance, and MySpace. Links to all the artists we played today right up on our website at normalaudiostash.com.
Well, you know, along about this time of year, you're looking for yourself a little treat. You know, something sticky, smelly, sweet. Something to get you lit up like a Christmas tree. And as I look upon their lights of red and green, you know it reminds me of that red hair on that lime green. Beautiful, quite impressive Christmas, but oh, I'm dreaming of a green Christmas, just like the ones we love to grow, where them bud tops they glisten, and everybody was hugging and kissing, 'cause they all felt so damn good and stoned. Well, you know, lately things have gotten a little tight. It seems the man just don't think it's right for us to partake in the God-given week. Well, I'm sorry they disagree. Oh, that everyone in this world should be free to pursue happiness and get high, get high, get high, get high. You know why? Dreaming of a green Christmas, just like the ones we used to grow, where them bud tops they glisten, and everybody was hugging and kissing, 'cause they all felt so damn good and stoned. Well, I guess it's about time to get out the plate. What? No papers? What do you mean no papers? Well, it looks like I have to get out the big green ball.
You're listening to NORML's Daily Audio Stash.
Grandma's turning 92, and that's a lot of years ahead of you. So listen close to what I say, 'cause Grandma's feeling old today. She said, I can't believe I'm sitting here, old as I am, never been stoned. I waited too damn long, so bring it on. Grandma's gonna fly. So I rolled it up and I passed it around. Grandma smoked the whole thing down. Said she was making up for wasted ground. So too many times she turned it down. She said you live your life until it's gone. The things you never try just slip away till they're gone too. I waited too damn long, so bring it on. Grandma's gonna fly. And then she talked about the old days, said some things that blew my mind. See, 'cause you ain't seen a thing till you seen Grandma getting high. Yeah, 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 yeah. 'cause she didn't have much time left, and she made use of every breath. And I swear she smiled before she left, as I felt the world fall off her chest. Ooh, and as the gates of heaven open wide, she slipped over to the other side. She was saying, hey, 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 I waited too damn long, so bring it on. Grandma's gonna fly. I waited too damn long, so bring it on. 'Cause Grandma's gonna fly.
Music on Normal's Daily Audio Stash.
People Radio Theatre presents Holmes in 30 Seconds. This episode, Hound of the Baskervilles. And go.
Oh, my dear Holmes, stop shooting up for a moment.
Never. Baby needs his candy.
Very well. There are reports of a devil hound in the moors of Morrisshire, or Devonmore, or some such English place.
Quick, to the Holmesmobile. The game's afoot.
There is no Holmesmobile, is there?
I did say afoot.
Good God, what was that?
Clearly the howl of a dog trained to wreak havoc on the locals in a complex inheritance plot of some kind. Oh God, Watson, what are we standing in?
Oh, we're trapped in this quick as sand. Well, Holmes, this case has gone to the dogs.
Don't make me hit you with this violin.
Very well, then. Play us out, won't you?
Righto.
Time.
James Roquefort here from peopleradio.com, and you're listening to NORML, the podcast for the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. Oh, I didn't know they needed reforming. It's illegal, you say? I'll be right back. Sorry, I had to flush my goldfish down the toilet. What was this about marijuana? Oh well, now on with the show.
This has been NORML's Daily Audio Stash, the growing truth about cannabis. Visit our website at normalaudiostash.com. If you listen to the Audio Stash, vote for us at Podcast Alley or other podcast directory services. I'm your host, Chris Goldstein. Thanks for listening today. Everyone have a fun summer weekend out there, and we're back at 4:20 on Monday. The podcasting technology of NORML is made possible by Red Aphid Interactive Media. More information at redaphid.com.